Lake Effect brings you conversations about what's happening in Milwaukee and the people, places, and organizations that shape the community. This is Lake Effect Spotlight from WUWM, Milwaukee's NPR.
Each month, we bring together Milwaukeeans for a segment we call Group Chat, where we hand over the microphone to people making a difference in the community and let them lead the conversation. There's been a flurry of news lately about immigration and people without legal status, but that hasn't stopped advocates and organizers from doing their work. This month, we'll hear from two organizers from the young adult movement called Comité Sin Fronteras, or Committee Without Borders, who are committed to advocating for immigration reform. Here's Fernanda Jimenez and Daisy España.
Well, my name is Fernanda, and I'm a DACA recipient. But I do like to mention that I'm undocumented, protected under DACA temporarily, because we know that DACA has only been a temporary fix in the immigration system and is in limbo. On the side, on my own time, I am the founder of Comité Sin Fronteras and one of the leading organizers now with my comrades, and I like to call friends because they're more than comrades now.
My name is Daisy España. I am 22. I am a member of Comité Sin Fronteras and Voces de la Frontera. I'm an organizer. I've been able to establish pretty good relationships with organizations in Milwaukee and across the state. Last fall actually, I ran for assembly. I didn't win, but that's okay. I'll do it again. I think I'm one of only, is it 2 or 3 U.S. citizens in the committee? I think you're just one of 2.
Yeah. So we joke about how Daisy is for the people. And as much as it's a joke, or we carry it as a joke, we know it's not a joke. If ICE is in 13th and Lapham and Daisy hears about it, Daisy is there. She'll say, bet, I'm going. And she does. So my question to you is, why is it and how and where does the bravery come from for you to be so committed and devoted to the work that you do?
Just to backtrack, for the people. So that was my slogan when I ran for assembly. I mean, it's still for the people. I got shirts and everything, right? So, I mean, I can point at different stories or situations throughout, like, my upbringing. My parents are from Mexico, and my dad's still undocumented. My mom became a permanent resident a little over a year and a half ago. But growing up, I constantly heard, like, my parents talk about, don't open the door to anybody, even if they're your tia or your sister. Like, don't open the door, right? And I'm like, damn, like, I gotta keep my sister outside. But in reality, it was because of fear, right? Like, specifically, there's this one time when we were kids. We were coming back from Chicago, and the sheriff stopped my dad. All of a sudden, I see my mom, like, starts praying, and she says, like, out loud that she hopes that they give him, like, the most expensive ticket ever, but not that she sees, like, a nice car or vehicle. And to me, I was like, what the heck? Just something is not right. And then obviously growing up on the south side, the differences between the south side and the east side, or there was this one time, there was, like, a block party, and I was hanging out with the cops. And I was like, what's up, And my mom got so mad. She's like, why are you doing that? They're not there to, like, protect you. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, that's their job. And so when you ask about, like, where does that bravery come from? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's a bit nerve-wracking, too. Like, I'll say, like, I'm there, right? And I'm, like, nervous. But I still go because it's, like, someone taught me that the most impactful piece of protest that you have is, like, your body. And to me, it's, like, nothing that I'll ever do will compare to the struggle and fear and experiences that the immigrant community faces. So the least I could do is, like, stand in front of an ICE agent to protect my friends and family and community. I tell people all the time when they're afraid to, like, organize, like, who's gonna do it if you don't? Like,
Nothing has been given to you.
Yeah.
We think about all of the different policies that are pro-immigrant, and people are grateful for them, and they really think like, oh, the government gave it to us, or Obama gave this to us. And it's never the case that just because they were in office, they gave it to you. It was always fought by people so that that policy would have been implemented. I mean, we've talked about DACA being that way. Many DACA recipients think that Obama passed that executive order because he wanted to. I'm not saying he didn't, but it took a lot of work for him to agree on passing that as an executive order. And it was all by the people. There was people like around our age who fought for the DREAM Act, didn't go through, and then DACA was able to happen. And now, I mean, like myself, I have DACA and I'm able to work legally and have some protection, some in this country, but it's all by us. And that's honestly how I think immigration reform is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be by the people, and it's only going to be a push for them to actually say, you know what? Yeah, sure. What the heck? Yeah.
What the heck? No, yeah. But speaking about for the people, with the people, and by the people, and I don't think I've asked you this ever, for that matter. But you mentioned, I mean, you're a DACA recipient. You are protected to an extent, but you essentially are undocumented, and you're still like, you founded Comité. You say yes to like putting your picture out there. You really don't care. Like I don't care. But homegirl, like you're like undocumented, and I guess my question is if you can talk about how you feel as somebody who's undocumented, but on top of that, how you feel as somebody who's undocumented who is at the forefront of this movement, trying to get other undocumented folks to be involved when there's just a lot of like fear.
I'll start off by saying I'm a natural anxious person, and I've been diagnosed with anxiety where my therapist has said, you were just born anxious and that's just who you are. So like to me, I've always been anxious and afraid. Like you can't say that I am 100% unafraid. I am. I'm afraid for myself, obviously, happening the worst case scenario. I'm afraid for my parents, who are a lot more vulnerable than me. I'm afraid for the people who are a lot more vulnerable than my parents. And even if I don't know them, they're my community, and I do fear for the worst case scenario. But I also think that living in fear just makes your life completely worse, and it doesn't do anything to progress for what we're trying to solve. And I think only being in community keeps you so safe. If you don't have a community, you're in a much more difficult situation.
Yeah.
I've told this to many people who are undocumented and are DACA recipients who have said, like, well, like, I don't want to put myself up there and say I'm undocumented because then now I'm a target. And I've told them, it's like, you're a target either way. Even not saying it up front and to, on the news or whatever, or just like to people in public, you're a target. If you're a DACA recipient, your information has been given to the government already. So you're already seen as undocumented. And if DACA is taken away, you're undocumented now. If you have been in other places that you said you're undocumented, you're already out there. Your status is out there. And when you don't have community and something were to happen to you, that's when it makes it difficult to protect you. And if you had community, then you're much harder to target. And without community, someone who is not out there, they would have been easily detained.
Oh, yeah.
And easily deported. And I think that's really what's kept me just going. I'm, again, like I said, I'm afraid. I'm always afraid. I'm like a little chihuahua. If I was a pet, I'd be a chihuahua because that's how much I shake. I shake now. But I really think that the community and the people around me keep me going and make me feel that being afraid isn't going to get us anywhere, or me anywhere. And now I feel like I'm not alone. We're talking about all this, fear, and like how we've been trying to get away from fear. We've been trying to be more hopeful and to organize our communities more so that we can really get to what the final solution is and our goal, which is a pathway to citizenship, but also what happens after a pathway to citizenship. Like what's the fight? The fight's going to be continuous. The solution is not just immigration reform. There's so much to immigration and to immigrants because everything is intersectional. So I'm wondering, how do you envision the world in the immigrant rights movement in the future and beyond what we are seeing now?
Yeah, has anyone seen the Hunger Games? No, but I think how I like to see it is from the bottom up, where it's like, how do we first win, like at the county level, and then at the city level, and then at the state level, right? Like, sure, you know, how many years have we been like pushing for a pathway to citizenship, even when we had the House of Representatives, the Senate, and the White House controlled by the Democrats, and nothing was passed.
We're so
Right?
close.
Super
One vote.
one vote.
One vote away.
Super close. Obviously, we'll keep organizing. Obviously, we'll keep marching and protesting and calling our Congress people and, you know, you name it. That won't stop. But I think, like, my thing has always been, like, local government. So my job now is to recruit people to run for office. The time frame, I'm not sure because, like you said, you know, we think about the next 4 years and it's kind of like, oof, where is the political and economic state of the world going to be? You know what I mean? Are we going to lose people? We can have this plan, but we won't know until we're there, right? And so right now, I think we're having an influx of people who are, like, calling us or wanting to be involved. I mean, like, our posts are getting an insane amount of shares. So it's doing good right now, but we've seen it with, like, the May Day marches, right? Since 2007, we've been fighting to reinstate driver's license. And every single year we march. And every single year you see a decrease of people. And it's not because people don't want to march or don't want to fight. It's like people are tired. And so how many years can go by before you start losing people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I think, like, what you were saying about people are tired, I agree. People are tired. And that's why I believe that our generation that needs investment in what leadership looks like, and you said it perfectly. I mean, locally, we need to get those people in office, and that'll take time. But education is so crucial now, and I think we have the people in the room. It's just bringing out that education to them and really implementing it all over. And even, I think, like, internationally, like, we see that it's not just a national issue. It's an international issue of immigration being such a stigma. They're not treated fairly. They're not treated like humans. Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think there's going to be a lot of work. People are tired, and we need to give them a moment to be tired too. Yeah. We can't just make them fight all the time, because I get tired.
Right.
I'm tired right now.
I'm going to take a nap.
Matter of fact. But yeah, I think it's okay to be tired.
Yeah.
And there's always going to be someone who is going to be working for you and with you.
Yeah.
And that's really what matters.
Yeah, it's like, take your time.
Yeah.
We'll hold it down for right now.
We got it.
But then you know, like,
yes,
you come in and then let me take a break.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Tag team.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's how we win.
That's right.
That was Fernanda Jimenez, founder of Comité Sin Fronteras, and Daisy España, an organizer with Comité Sin Fronteras and Voces de la Frontera. This group chat was produced by WUWM's Jimmy Gutierrez.
You can find more interviews like this one by visiting wuwm.com/Lake Effect. And while you're there, subscribe to the Lake Effect Spotlight podcast.